And away we go. It is the BCJ Podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail, right here on BearcatJournal.com. If you're heading downtown to a Reds game or any of the other events that happen in the city of Cincinnati, you're headed to the banks, make sure you stop by, check out our good friends at the Holy Grail. They will get you taken care of. Full bar, awesome food. Love the pizza. That is a staple for the Bearcat Journal table when we're at the Holy Grail. Also, really good wings, Reuben wontons, good Philly cheesesteak, lots of good stuff on the menu. So go check them out. And, of course, while you're there, make sure you get yourself an ice-cold Cincy Light, 50 cents from every Cincy Light purchased at the Holy Grail will be donated back into the Cincy Reigns NIL Collective. So go support those that support us and visit, while you're at it, the best sports bar and the best bar in the city of Cincinnati in our great partners at the Holy Grail. All right, let's get this show on the road. Dave, it's the college sports calendar does not slow down much these days.
No.
But it does now in May. Like May feels like wandering through the desert. Like I remember probably 5 years ago before the portal, like there was like 3-4 months where it felt like, my goodness, like what in the world are we going to talk about? Now it's pretty much just May.
Yeah.
But here we are. It's May.
Not
a lot going on.
Outside of baseball, Ryan Ford in the NCAA for golf. It's a little quiet right now.
We've got some football stuff I want to get to. So that'll be good. We don't do this very often on this show. But later in the show, once we get through, the first couple topics, we're gonna open it up, let you guys ask some questions, and kind of do a ask us anything type deal. So it's we're fighting through it, Dave. We're fighting through it. It's what's good, Ron? Good to see you, brother. If the Bearcats become a baseball school like the trajectory they're on, there'll be no lull in May. Look, Leroy, I love baseball. I'm a baseball guy. I don't know that baseball is going to carry us for 90 minutes like we normally do here, but carried us for 51 minutes on Monday night. If you need your baseball fix, Jordan Bishel was awesome on the BBP on Monday night. Also, Dave, it is official. We are wall to wall on Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. The 513-day marathon is back. Wall to wall guests for 11 hours. We thought it was going to be 12, but we learned yesterday that George Vogel is going to the Reds game on Tuesday night. So he will not be here for George in the Jungle. So Aaron and I get to mercifully call it quits at 9 o'clock. Oof.
Do we have any early names any early guest names that will be joining us that we can tease the audience with?
We'll have Wes Miller and we'll have Scott Satterfield and we'll have John Cunningham and we'll have John Daniel, who is kind of the lead on the IPF facility that is, about a month away from officially being open. So I know all of those guys will be joining us, probably a host of football players as they populate the building on Tuesday. I'm guessing, we'll hear from various other head coaches in the building throughout the day that will pop in with us. So, the big three, Cunningham, Miller, Satterfield, for sure will be here with us. And then from there, we'll have a better idea on that as we get moving. It is, Dave, not going to lie. Tuesday is probably the toughest day to do this because we have the BBP on Monday. and we had the BCJ pod on Wednesday.
That's right.
So throwing the marathon on Tuesday makes it for us. That's what 2, 11 is 13, 14 and a half. Like it's like 15 hours of content coming at us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So, and then this is probably going to go bad, Dave. They asked me, I guess they're doing a bunch of like the Pete Rose thing is Wednesday next week. So they asked me to do Mo Egger's show Wednesday after talking for 11 hours on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So next Wednesday night might be trouble. You might have to talk a lot more than you're used to.
Maybe it's just a TBD episode in general.
It might be. It might be good. We don't take very rarely do we ever take a week off here. It might be a week off next Wednesday. Yeah. If you need content, go watch the 11 hours we did yesterday.
Right.
But let's get to it. I'm going to start with football today, Dave, because there are various things coming out right now. FanDuel released their over/under win totals for the Big 12 this season. USA Today and 24/7 have released their post-spring rankings. Two very different rankings there. But lead it off with, Dave. There's not a lot of hype around UC football right now. Let's just call a spade a spade. There's not a lot of buzz, and for obvious reasons. We're not pretending that there should be, but this is essentially like you got to start getting some momentum back in this program. Yeah. Because what we're looking at right now is not a lot of respect for the Bearcats out there.
Right. And, full disclosure, haven't read a single stitch of any of those because I don't think they're worth the internet screen that they're printed on. But I agree in the sense of like, if someone doesn't think they're going to be very good, I'm not going to argue with them. Like you've gotta, you have to prove otherwise. So, I say part of that somewhat joking. I mean, I have read a few blurbs here and there. Most of them that I have read are incredibly inaccurate. So that's why I typically just don't read them at all. But the overarching theme of it is like, I'm not really going to push back on any of that and be like, and throw my fist up or say, oh my gosh, you're a hater or you're bulletin board material or enlighten me. What were some of the things that have been put out there?
So FanDuel has the over under at 6.5.
I think that's totally fair.
Yeah. If you bet the over, you get 6.5 over at plus 110. If you bet the under 6.5, you are minus 134. Minus 134 seems oddly specific.
Why? Yeah, I've never seen a non-zero, or 5. I don't think so. I've ever seen
that. Do incoming players care about rankings? No. I mean, if you're ranked in the top 10, yeah, they care.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, if you're projected to go to the college football playoff, yeah, they care. Other than that, I don't think so.
Let's do the rest of the conference real quick while we're on this, Dave. Arizona over under 5.5.
Okay.
Arizona State over under 8.5. BYU 7.5. Baylor 7.5. Cincinnati 6.5. Colorado 6.5. Houston 5.5. Iowa State 7.5. Kansas 7.5. Kansas State 8.5. Oklahoma State 5.5, TCU 6.5, Texas Tech 8.5, UCF 6.5, Utah 7.5, West Virginia 5.5. So, according to the betting odds, the bottom of the conference is expected to be, in terms of just overall win total, Arizona, Houston, West Virginia, and who was the other 5.5?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, yeah.
I
So
just think
4 teams at 5.5.
I think it's super interesting that I'm pretty sure I heard that right. Like nobody had a higher win total than 8.5, and no one had a lower than 5.5.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to, shouldn't say definitely, I haven't looked at all the other leagues, but very likely going to be the tightest spread from top to bottom of any conference, because you'll get like an Ohio State, a Georgia,
right?
Somebody of that will be like 10.5, maybe even 11, and there'll be a 3.5, 4.5, 5.5 somewhere at the bottom in those conferences. So I mean, it's what we've talked about. Like the Big 12 is pretty even, and it's hard to judge who's going to be the team that does in Arizona State and who's going to be the team that does Oklahoma State and Kansas last year.
I mean, Kansas at least got it righted at the end of the year. I think from what I'm looking at in the SEC, the highest is Texas at 9.5, and Mississippi State is at 3.5. So 6 games difference, where the Big 12 is half of that.
Right.
I saw somebody earlier talk about a tough schedule. It's really not.
I mean, I just don't know. Like, it's every year. It's like, it can be. It could. We thought last year's was not going to be that hard.
And it ended up being the hardest in the conference.
All the teams that we thought, so I just, especially right now, May 7th, like let me read some previews. Let me actually know who's playing quarterback for most of these teams. Because that, in the transfer portal era, like that means so much. Who's your quarterback has always meant a ton, but like, are you replacing a Shedeur Sanders? Who are you replacing him with? Are you, just things of that nature just need a lot more prep before I can confidently be wrong about who I think will be good and who will be bad.
Yeah, I mean,
I will say one thing. I'm certainly not buying Scott Frost 2.0. So
the thing about Scott
Frost, they're the worst team in the conference. It's not going to surprise me one bit.
The thing about Scott Frost that blew me away, that I heard when he took the job, that I didn't realize. He's had one winning season as a head coach. Their undefeated season is the only season he's had a winning record. He did not have a winning record his other seasons at Central Florida, and he never had a winning record at Nebraska. So he has had one singular winning season in his entire head coaching career. And that is not exactly the beacon of stability down there right now as it stands.
No, again, I haven't dug into the who's in, who's out portal for all these teams, but yeah, it's not one that I'm super buying on.
I mean, Texas is going to be or not Texas, but Houston's going to be a little fascinating just to see if they can get that train back on track. Rich Rod, I don't see any way that ends well.
They're doing a lot in the portal. They're like the only team that I see adding guys right now.
Well, that's because they lost didn't they have 20-something guys go in the spring portal?
Oh, I think it was even more than that. I think it was like 40. That he whether went in the portal or he told to go in the portal. I could be wrong there, but yeah, massive roster turnover there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. It's really difficult at this point in time to really get an assessment of like what you're playing. Like, are these teams, like you said, one, who's the quarterback? Like, who's leading these teams? What does the situation look like? Josh mentioned the 5 road games, and every other year you're going to have to deal with that. Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa State, Baylor, Utah, BYU, TCU, all will be tough outs. Yeah, but you have to win some tough, like that. We can't just instantly get to this point. Well, they're going to lose every game against the team with the pulse. Then this ain't going to work. Like, if we just look at the schedule and we're writing off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, that's a losing record.
Yeah.
That ain't going to work. So,
the entire Big 12 is a tough out, more basically, because they're all very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, the team was 5-2 and then crapped the bed. So, like, I'm sure before that 5-game losing streak started, I'm sure the next teams after Arizona State were probably like, man, Cincinnati's playing pretty good. They're going to be a tough out. So, well, of course they haven't proved it after the 5-2 start, Leroy. There were no more games to prove it in.
They lost them all. I mean, look, I'm not expecting anybody to feel like this is a 10-win team. But, I mean, if they're going to turn the corner, you got to start beating somebody that, like, there's not, are all those teams, should they all be pretty decent? Yeah. Do I look at any of those teams and think national title contender or playoff team? No.
Title contender.
You know what I mean, Dave. Like, I'm not looking at any of that and thinking
outside of Arizona State, going from right now, going into the season, if the Big 12 wasn't guaranteed a place in the college football playoff, I would tell you that they wouldn't have a team in the college football playoff.
Yeah. I mean, they're not guaranteed.
Well, yeah, they are. The conference champion will essentially, unless something absolutely wild happens where every team is essentially 7-5 or 6-6.
I mean, you could have 2. You could have, it's the 6 high or the 5 highest rated conference champions, right?
Right.
So if 2 leagues have a team that goes undefeated from the group of 5, and the Big 12 champ is 8-4, let's say, which, it isn't that much of a crazy thought, then it's not out of the realm of possibility that they might not get an auto bid.
Yeah.
Because I don't look at it and it doesn't feel like there's a team that is going to like just run away with the Big 12.
No.
Maybe somebody does. Maybe,
sure.
That's always a possibility.
I mean, nobody saw Arizona State
doing
what, clearly nobody saw it. They were picked to finish dead last.
Give me 8-9 wins in a Pop-Tart Bowl. Hey, take the Pop-Tart Bowl. I'm all in. I might take the whole crew to the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, I'll put money on winning the Big 12 in a playoff game. Here's the thing, Leroy.
What kind of odds you want to give me, Leroy? I'll take that bet.
Here's the thing.
Talk about need to prove it.
A lot of teams put that we won the offseason banner up in the field house. There aren't many of those teams that win the offseason that turn that into winning the regular season. They went out and spent a crap ton of money. You know what they don't have, Dave? Taj Brooks.
They don't have Taj Brooks.
So, yeah,
We'll see.
Texas Tech is going to be a popular
I still think they'll be good, but I mean, I'm not going to say, like, I wouldn't feel confident, like, saying, oh, yeah, easy, surefire conference champion right there.
I wouldn't feel confident saying anybody's going to. Like, that's the problem with this league. I don't feel confident saying anybody's going to win it. So there's the win totals. The other thing, USA Today did their ranking 1 through 136, Dave. Cincinnati came in at 103rd.
103?
103.
Yeah, that's I would like to see the person that wrote that and just make sure that I never follow or listen to anything that person ever publishes again.
Northwestern, Stanford, and Purdue are the only 3 teams below Cincinnati. Maryland or Arizona's 96, Oklahoma State 91. Connecticut 79.
It just tells me like you don't really pay attention to any of the guys or any of the gals that truly cover the entire sport.
West Virginia 69, Houston 60. Houston 63 spots above Cincinnati. Here's my favorite part. They have Cincinnati predicted to go 5-7. Houston predicted to go 4-8. And there's a 60 team gap between the two of them.
Right. Okay. That's fun.
Kansas 45.
Baylor
36.
You say whatever you want to say. They haven't earned the high praise, but that number's a little silly.
Paul Meyerberg is
haven't heard that guy's name in a long time. Maybe there's a reason.
I don't know that I've heard his name ever. Who is he?
I mean, I guess he covers college football for USA Today, which I'm not sure who actually reads USA Today anymore. So,
yeah. I mean, the maybe I'm wrong, but in seeing what was on the field in the spring, the roster looks better. I don't know. I can't tell you what I think win total wise that'll lead to, but they don't look small and squatty and a little slow. Like those were things that when you were watching them the last 2 years, we talked about here a lot. Like this roster still has a long way to go to catch up to the better rosters in the Big 12. Now, do I think it's arrived? No. Do I think it looks considerably better than it did the past 2 off seasons? Yes, I do.
Right.
I think you would agree.
I would. I mean, I would say it's a roster that I'm hopeful can improve on last year, and a roster that it would not surprise me if they won some of those games that they couldn't quite get last year and won. Like, I don't think my stance has been I need to see 8-4 because going from 5-7 to 6-6 or 7-5 just doesn't really tell me that the trajectory of the program is headed in the right direction. Being that you lost 5 in a row to end the year last year, like just being bowl eligible when, they're scraping the barrel to find teams to play in these bowl games, or even going 1 game over that, it just doesn't say like we're really about to explode. We're about to take this Big 12 by storm. And I'm not saying getting to 8-4 says that either, but that at least says like you won the games you were supposed to win. You went on the road and won some games that maybe were, coin flip games or you were not supposed to win. And then my biggest thing is like you protected Nipper. Like you win all your games at Nipper and then you figure it out on the road / in Kansas City. You have the opportunity to have a very solid season. They haven't been able to figure out how to win enough games at home. So, but I can see that happening. Like what I've seen of the team, what I've watched.
Actually, they have 5 conference home games, not 5 conference road games.
Yeah.
Leroy said earlier they had 5 on the road. They have 5 at home.
No, it's 5 at home. Because I was bitching about the Nebraska becoming a neutral when it should, saying they could have had 7.
They do have 7 home games.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right.
They have the FCS game in Bowling Green and then 5 Big 12 games. They could have had 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm not like, I don't, talk to me in December if they're 6-6 or 7-5, and because I'm not going to like stand on any platform and make any declarations right now, but like, I'm not going to move. I've said it pretty much as soon as the season ended. I'm not going to move off of that stance of, for me personally, I need to see 8. And I think that's totally doable. I think they have the talent to win 8 games. Now they just have to play better at home and go on the road and get a couple and see how that goes.
7 home games, 4 road games, and the neutral with Nebraska and Kansas City.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think 8 is. I think 8 would be everything went really well. Didn't get hit with a rash of injuries. Didn't like won a couple of those coin flip games that they have not been able to win so far since becoming a member of the Big 12. If they get to 7, I'm not going to throw a fit, right? Like, I think.
Oh, I'm not gonna throw a fit. I'm not sure I'm gonna be like, we need to have a contract extension.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, there probably will be one, but doesn't need to be a contract extension with a significant raise. And because you got 6 years, this would be year 3. There's going to be at the end of this year, it's either cut bait or dead man walking, right? Because you want to have your coach in a 4-year window. Although, does it even fucking matter anymore, Dave?
Probably not, but it's still, because then then you're really
right.
You're really on the hot seat if you're going to try to just go into year 4 or year 5 or whatever,
I think 24/7 probably was a little bit more in the ballpark of where I'm thinking. I think 24/7 had him at 63. And I think that's fair. Middle of the pack, they've got some really good pieces. I think they've got a upper half of the league. Maybe if he looks for a whole season like he looked for the first half of last year, maybe an upper third of the league quarterback. You've got an NFL defensive lineman. You've got an NFL tight end. You've got some other pieces that, I think Golday could be a guy that plays himself into the draft. Taranteo at guard is a big physical guy that, I could see at least being talked about as a draftable guy. We'll see with the defensive backfield, but I think there's more than enough talent assembled that this is a middle of the road college football team at this stage.
Yeah,
I think that's more accurate.
I agree. I mean, I think the defense has the chance to surprise some people that maybe aren't as aware of what returned and what was added. And then, how does the offensive line come together, and can dudes get open and catch the ball and score touchdowns? Because, I mean, I said it for 2 years. Both years. Like, you can talk to me about offense and zone running scheme and yards, and they got to score more points. You got to average 30 points a game in college football to have a shot to be a semi good team. And they haven't really come close to that in 2 years. So
no, and they've faded both times. Where the offense looked okay for a while and then just kind of fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So, I don't envy anybody having to do those things. That's why I don't put too much stock into them at this point. Basically because the way it is, unless it's Ohio State last year returned almost everybody and went out and added some important pieces at their areas of weakness. That's not college football anymore. College football anymore is, I don't know what the hell, okay, everybody thinks we had a good portal class, but let's see, do those guys fit our system? Do they fit our locker room? There's a lot of questions for everybody. So having to do that exercise, especially in the beginning of May, acting like you have intel from all of these spring practices, which you don't, actual intel from how teams looked, and who the hell knows how teams look because they went against each other every day.
Right.
But it's talking point. It is something that is out there.
Hey, they wouldn't do them
if people
didn't click on them.
Yeah.
That's why I always laugh when people retweet those things or whatever, and they're all angry. I'm like, they're getting the reaction that they wanted. You clicked on it and then you engaged with it.
Yeah.
I'm the guy they hate who's like, I'm not even reading that because I know it's terrible.
Even if it's good, it's terrible.
I mean, how do you know on whenever you wrote that article, anybody that does these, how are you differentiating between the 59th ranked team and the 84th ranked team?
Yeah, you're not. You're not.
Maybe they're just putting 130 something names in a hat and drawing them out.
I think it looked like that's what USA Today did.
Like we did.
It looked like that's what USA Today did. If I read some of the teams that they had above Cincinnati on that list, you would literally be double.
Well, you did. You read some of them, like UConn and
yeah.
Whatever.
Anything else football you want to touch on? A couple commitments. Got their quarterback. Did you get to watch any tape on young Mr. Goodman?
I did watch some tape. I thought it was interesting. His name kind of came out of left field.
So this is that window every year in April where coaches get to go watch kids throw.
Oh, yeah.
So we have seen some surprises from that where, a coach goes out, watches a kid throw and decides look, they weren't going to get the kid from Moeller.
No, not based off of who was offering and things of that nature.
And also he might never play a snap of college football.
Yeah, it's true.
So I don't think so it sounds like Pete Thomas went out and felt like he found his guy. and that'll happen sometimes in April. That kind of surprises you. He had visited for a spring practice.
Yeah.
Staff shows up to watch you throw. Maybe you had a great day throwing the football, and they said, "All right, you're our guy. Here's the offer. Do you want it?" And the kid said yes. And that's how you get those surprises sometimes.
Yeah, I think the two things that, again, I watched like 5 minutes or whatever of a huddle highlight tape. So
Sure.
remember, I'm a guru, not an expert.
Right.
The two things that I did notice right away were he has a quick release, and I thought he had really good for like a high school kid who is playing in a wide open spread offense. I thought he had really good like just pocket presence. Like he felt he felt rushers well. He wasn't like super. He hung in there and made some throws where he got hit like head on. Wasn't just like automatically ducking out of the pocket. I wouldn't call him dual threat. I feel like he's kind of like Sorsby lightish, where like they'll run him more. Like this kid can run, but I think it's last resort. He wants to stand in there and make throws. But yeah, we'll see how he develops. He's got good size.
It's not small.
Seemed like he
I
had.
guess is a good way to put it.
He had plenty of. Yeah, he's not like a Tony Pike 6'6", but he's well over 6 foot. He's seemed like he had the requisite amount of arm strength. He didn't like Zeb's arm strength instantly jumps off the screen when you watch him. He didn't have that, but I didn't feel like he was like struggling to make full field throws.
Right. So yeah, that's expected to be the quarterback for the 2026 class. It's so hard at quarterback anymore, man.
I mean, that's the thing. When we talked about last week, I would love to talk to Pete just about in the portal era, like how does that change, or has that changed how you recruit high school quarterbacks? Because let's be honest, if Sorsby has a really good year and goes pro, the starting quarterback for this team in 2026 is probably 90% not on the roster right now.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that? Like, you need quarterbacks because you're not going to have Sorsby throwing
every
150 throws every day at higher ground.
Yeah, and you're really not going to probably get a transfer to come in and sit behind him.
I mean, of course you'd love to like get a guy and develop him, and he becomes your starter maybe as a sophomore. Because if the dude's not the starter by his junior year, he ain't here anymore.
Right. And sometimes sooner than that.
So how many quarterbacks are, outside of the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Ohio States, like how many quarterbacks are you able to get that can come in and be a starter their sophomore year? Or even redshirt freshman year?
Yeah. There ain't many.
So, it makes for, that's why I don't like, with quarterbacks, maybe more than any other position, it's not that I have no opinion, but like I kind of just, it doesn't really do anything, outside of if they got the kid from Moeller, that we would celebrate that and we would hype that up. But like, I'm not belittling the kid they got. It's just, it's such an unknown of like, will you even be here in 2 years? Because
and I know,
they'll go get some transfer.
I know Marcus on the message board. My guy Marcus is awesome. He's been a longtime member. Was talking about like this premium on developing quarterbacks internally. I just want to know where it's happening. Because almost every school in the Power Four has a transfer starting quarterback. Who are these people that are internally developing their quarterbacks anymore?
Yeah, I mean Ohio State won a national championship with a transfer. I don't even like Tennessee kind of developed Nico, and then he left. Georgia developed Carson Beck, and he wasn't good enough, so he left. Alabama's had a ton of highly decorated young guys come and go. I guess Jalen Milroe, really? But the dude got benched against South Florida, and replaced by a guy that played lacrosse at Notre Dame for a game.
Yeah.
So Dylan Gabriel at Oregon was a transfer. It's I'm sure if we really wrote them all down, there's some. I think Texas Tech, their guy's been there a minute. Jalen, or the Daniels kid at Kansas, I would say, has been developed. He's been their incumbent starter for several years. Avery Johnson at Kansas State was essentially why Will Howard left. So he's there. But Avery Johnson was also either a 4-star. I don't think he was a 5-star. But I think he was pretty highly recruited or highly thought of. Rocco Beck. So it is out there for sure. But
I think it's 60+% of the Power Four starting quarterbacks are transfers.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's a pretty high. It's certainly to me, it's certainly such a high number that you would obviously love to find a guy and be able to develop it, but he has to be good enough to earn the starting job at a pretty young age. There's just no more waiting around for your turn.
Morton at Texas Tech is kind of exactly what you're talking about. Got on the field his redshirt freshman year.
Yeah.
As the redshirt freshman, completed 96 of 169 for 1,100 yards, 7 TDs, 6 picks. And then as a redshirt sophomore, 62%, 1,700 yards, 15 touchdowns, 8 picks. And then as a redshirt junior, 3,300 yards, 27 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Right.
But
so who is good enough, or in the UC's case, Sorsby's going into his second year. What if he comes back? What if he has a good year, but not a NFL type year, doesn't want to transfer, he comes back. So now you got you've essentially developed him. He spent 1 year at Indiana. So, but then he leaves, he graduates. Let's play that scenario out. He graduates. You're either getting a transfer with experience or another guy like him that played as a freshman. Or you're having Samaj Jones, Zeb Kinsley, this kid they just got is the starter.
Yeah.
So what I don't know. I'm not saying I know which one's better, which one's worse. But it's do you want to give you just had a quarterback play 3 years? Do you want a quarterback that's never played and try to hope that he then becomes the guy for another 3 years? Or do you go get a transfer?
And the only guy that's played is Lichty, and he's been here since I think Gunnar Kiel was here. So I can't imagine he's got an extra year of eligibility.
No.
Is Lichty a unicorn? Yeah. Yeah. Having a guy stay that long, he could definitely play at the MAC level. He could definitely play at the
start at every MAC team.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a unicorn. I say that without me knowing, but I mean,
Maybe
I
not
would say at
every,
least
but like he'd be
right,
in the quarterback competition to start at every night.
right.
So yeah, he's kind of a unicorn where I mean, there's not a quarterback competition right now. Like Brendan
No,
Sorsby is QB1, Lichty is QB2, Samaj Jones is QB3. Like that's that's pretty much where this is at.
right.
So yeah, it's a big year for Mr. Sorsby. Big year for Mr. Sorsby. Do I think some of these commits kind of using UC as a stepping stone school? They commit super early and just wait to get some traction and decommit. Welcome to college football recruiting, MDOT. If you're not at the top of the food chain, that's how high school recruiting works. If you're not Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, whatever, Texas, every school
It happens to them.
it does. They do that to each other. But the point being, you identify, you get a kid to commit, and then you just hope somebody with more money does
I mean,
it.
it's why
More.
I think since the day we've done this podcast, and I've really more so covered football than anything else. How many times do you think I've said, "Tell me who enrolls in September"?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like we'll pump them up. It's great. I love them. You want to be a Bearcat, whether it's for a day or for 6 months, whatever. Like I'll shoot the tweet out. I'll give your stats and who else was interested in you. But it works both ways too, though. Like this staff has pulled no punches about we value senior tape, and if you don't seem to be like a continually ascending player, we are going to drop you. And I have no problem with that.
Collier, MDOT, from all indications, that was not somebody bigger sniffing around.
Yeah,
leave it at that. Like I said on the board, from my understanding, there was an injury that kept him out most of his junior season, and there wasn't a very open line of communication on how that recovery was going.
Yeah,
and if
I think he's I think for being honest, if you want to compare him to like all the other linebackers they have, he's pretty undersized too.
Yes.
Now that's but that's a young guy. I mean, who knows what that becomes? But if you kind of also compare it to the other linebackers that they're offering, he's not really in the same bracket, so to speak. But yeah, June will be interesting. They've got a ton of officials lined up with what I think is by and large a pretty good crop of dudes. We've always said, regardless of who the staff was, once you get kids on campus, they all or most of all of them seem to really love it. Now we'll see if they can, beat out some other good competition. I mean, one of their commits who was virtually unknown, Solomon Mathis, now has a Georgia and Florida offer. It's always funny that who offers and when they offer.
Yeah.
The running back that they offered from Nebraska a month or so ago was a Northern Illinois commit and basically had like a Northern Illinois and a Fresno State offer. And once UC offered, now I think 3 or 4 Big Ten schools have offered. That might even be underselling it. Some others have offered. So it's like you want to try to keep these guys quiet, but when you offer them, you can't they're going to say that you offered. And that's just the way it goes. So, well, an interesting offer was given out last night to Luke Grover.
Yeah,
who is Gavin Grover's younger brother. So we'll see where that goes. I believe NC State's been recruiting him pretty consistently for a while. So, but these guys do camps. I know it's camp season. There's a lineman from Georgia who UC's been in on for a while. Young kid, like just turned 17, who all of a sudden over the last week or two, like Florida State, Georgia Tech, just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So you hope that's where the early identification and the relationship and the ability to get these guys on campus for a game or into the spring pays off as these new teams jump in the mix. So,
yep.
But it works both ways. I mean, UC just offers Luke Grover, and other teams have been recruiting him for, obviously has a different connection, but we shall see. It'll be interesting with the performance center done and a whole bunch of June visits lined up. And you pretty much will have your class done outside of a handful of guys, maybe by the time June's over.
We can now thank Luke. Will Pauling for Tyree Walker seems like a solid pro bono, especially
now that Will's at Notre Dame.
At Notre Dame with the rest of the UC folk. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, I think that that about covers football. I think I don't have really anything else to add to the mix there. Expectations are low. Maybe that's what they need, Dave. Expectations hit that, they got to bottom out.
I mean, you end the season losing 5 in a row. Why would it?
Why would people be super high on? Yeah.
Why would anybody that doesn't really know the roster watch them lose 5 in a row at the end of the year and then think that they're going to be like some great team the next year?
Especially they didn't go out and spend, they didn't do the flashy thing.
No.
And go spend a crap ton of money in the portal. Now they did go out and get what was the number one left tackle in the portal at that time. So, they were active, but they're not Texas Tech.
No.
They didn't spend 15, 18, $20 million.
It'll be interesting. ROI on wins.
Yeah.
Like, how much did each one of your wins cost you?
That's going to bring us to our first timestamp, brought to you by Turtles Brew. 6% ABV, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free. It's a bourbon-infused sweet tea. They have lemonade tea, strawberry mint, cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla. More than 50 locations in greater Cincinnati, over 100 in and around Ohio. If you want to find the location nearest you, go to turtlesbrew.com. Pull up the map, and they will bring it to you. Or you can go get it. They're not going to bring it to you. I don't know where I said that. Where's Texas Tech getting all that money? Oil, Shon. Oil.
Oil fields.
There's a lot of oil money down there. A lot of oil money. And you get 10, 12, 15 billionaires. Things get a little easier than when you're fighting to, find one. Cincinnati doesn't really have one billionaire. Texas Tech could put a billionaire in every suite in Nippert Stadium, pretty much. So,
probably.
Makes it a little more challenging for the Bearcats on that front. Basketball, real quick. 24/7 did their final class of 2025 rankings. David, Shon Abaev checks in at number 22. And Keyshawn Tillery checks in at 56. So if you're going to go get 2 high school kids, like Cincinnati's probably not going to be playing in the top 10 sandbox when it comes to high school basketball recruiting. But you get a top 25 kid, you get a kid just barely outside the top 50. I think that's about as good as you can ask for on the high school recruiting front. If you're, we're in that era now where teams are taking 2, maybe 3 high school guys, but a lot of teams like Rick Pitino's not taking any.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take them, go get you a couple top 50 kids and see where they fit.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't really have much more to add. I mean, we had a good understanding of what those guys had done this year, so I think those rankings are probably very fair, and we'll see how that works out come November.
I mean, obviously, the big question there is what impact can Abaev have? Because I don't think with Tillery, you've got Day Day and Jizzle, you've got Kirk Risa, you've got Sincere Harris.
Yeah. I mean, 5 minutes a game, maybe.
I think he'll probably, if he's as good as I think he can be, I think there's an avenue for him to play himself up to 10. But I can't see him getting anywhere like 15, 7.
Right, that's what I mean. Like, okay,
year.
he gets 10. Who's coming off the floor for? He's got to be playing pretty damn well. That's always my thing of like, well, just put this guy needs to play more. Okay, well, who are you taking out?
Right. There's only 200 minutes to spread across 5 spots.
Would you want the freshman playing more than that? I mean, maybe he earns it, but like right now, I can't make that declaration.
Right.
I mean, I think I'm not going to use the word pressure, but I think if this team wants to be good, Abaev has to be pretty instant impact.
25 to 28 minutes?
No chance.
No.
15, 20 tops.
I think 20. I think he's going to be at the 20-minute guy, 20, 22-minute guy. That's generally...
If he earns it, sure. Like, I have...
Well,
you know more than me. I have, like, serious questions about his defense to where you would be playing him 28 minutes a game.
You have proclaimed him a one-and-done guy, M. Dot. I don't know that he's a one-and-done guy. I think he can be if he comes in and has a really good year, but if you're not in the top 7 to 10, I don't automatically mark you down as a one and done guy. He has said that. What Dan Skilling said he was going to the NBA after this year. M. Dot. I don't like. We're talking about. There's a difference. I guess. Let's put it like this. There's a difference between being a one and done guy and being a first round draft pick or being
anybody could be one and done and then be the 58th pick or not get drafted.
Right.
Like, I don't think that is what he means. If he has said that, I don't think that's what he's meant. Like, if he says I see myself as going to the league next year, that's based on him thinking he's going to be pretty damn awesome. And he very well might be. But I don't think that's the thing that I'm willing to go out and say right now, based on what I've seen and what I've heard. Like, need to see some major strides defensively if you're going to be able to be played that many minutes a game as a true freshman.
More likely he could be a one and done in his time at UC? Sure, guy. Like, again, unless you're top 10, I'm not automatically marking you down as a one and done guy.
Or he could be awesome and someone pays him $6 million to go play for them next year.
Right.
Like, who the hell knows?
I mean, when you go back and look, Gary, Troy, Jaron, Jizzle, those guys weren't logging 25 to 28. I mean, Gary might have, I think, because if I remember correctly, he came in the year after Justin and Titus left. And there wasn't anybody really at the 4.
Right.
So, like, he had to play Now he was ready for it, but there was a lot of people that felt like Jaren didn't play enough minutes his freshman year.
Yeah.
Jacob Evans felt like he didn't play enough minutes.
I want him to be, because I think they need his scoring ability, but it can't be a 1-for-1. Like, he can't play 25 minutes, score 13 points, and just give up 13 to the other team.
And the thing is, in this league, it's very difficult to hide somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're just going to isolate you and go at you. Like, we saw that with Jeremiah Davenport when he was here. We've seen it the last 2 years with different rotations where, guys just, hey, right here, I got him. Like, get me the ball, and we're going to go at him. We're going to isolate and we're going to attack. So it's not as easy as it used to be, where we're just going to hide a guy in our defense. Now, if you've got a Sincere Harris, you've got a guy next to him, like if those two are on the floor quite a bit together, but I wonder, like, Sincere Harris probably going to spend a lot of time as your third guard. Like, I don't want to say he's going to be the small forward, but I could see a lot of situations where Harris is out there as your third guard on the floor, which means he's probably not out there with Abaev.
Right.
So, more likely 1 year at UC and then hit the portal.
That's what I was insinuating.
Yeah. So, I very excited for him. He's got an offensive skill that you don't see around here a whole lot.
Yeah.
This is not a program that has brought in a lot of dudes that can do things with the basketball that Shon Abaev can do.
Yeah, I mean, I think since I've been a fan, but and it took SK some time to develop it. Like, SK and Jaren are the only two guys that I can think of that are just like, you were like, yeah, they're gonna get 15 tonight, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna place that on Shon. He's never played a game, but he has that scoring mindset and ability that, I think has been rare for this program.
Agreed. And it's not just like Shon early in his career. He got better as a distributor, like as he got a little older. But like early in Shon's career, he was from the Kyle Washington school. I didn't come here to pass.
Yeah.
Jaren could really pass. Like, Jaren was just a dude that had great feel for the game. He was seen as a scorer, rightfully so, but he also could facilitate and pass quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Shon is an excellent passer. I'm changing my name to Sheen. Change it to Shon, Shon. You can be like Shon Abaev. So, that's in terms of where else we're at. I know Matt Norlander said on a podcast today, Matt's with CBS, so part of the network, he thinks they'll either add a starter at the 4 or, a first or second guy off the bench type. I would agree with that in theory. But that's easier to just say you're going to do than to actually be able to find that guy at this point in the process.
Yeah.
Like, there's still there's still talent to be had in the portal, but it ain't like it was when it opened. Like,
and if it's high-end talent that could truly make a difference, they're content chilling, waiting to see who realizes that they maybe need something and we're going to overspend.
Or you wait until the draft process is complete, right, and guys can pull their names, guys that have declared can pull their name from the draft. And then, that's when typically a lot of money gets thrown around at the very end of the process. So, I know they had interest in Baba Miller. All indications are that he will be returning to Florida Atlantic. In this day and age, I know, but why would a guy do that? Well, they're probably going to spend, their top dollar, the most they can afford on him, and he's going to be their number one guy. And for some guys, that's just as appealing as going somewhere making similar money, but being a third or fourth option.
Yeah.
And your numbers look a lot better when you're the number one option, Dave.
Right, because be real about it. Like, I don't know his year, but like, I'd rather do that and have a really good year and parlay that into something somewhere else than take a little bit more somewhere else now and be not an afterthought, but like you said, the third or fourth option, to where if I build off of what I did, but a lot of these guys and the people around them don't really have the foresight to think that far in advance. That's the other issue.
Yeah. Real quick, we'll touch on baseball just for a second. Big series this weekend at TCU. TCU is 14 in the RPI. Cincinnati, I think, is up. Last I saw today, they were up to 39. So if you're in that top 40 in the RPI, you're in a pretty good position to have your name called on Selection Sunday. I think that is they have 7 games left. They have these 3 games at TCU, and then they come home next week. They're home on 5-1-3 day, 6 o'clock. They will take on Indiana. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Kansas State next week to close out the regular season. So kudos to Jordan Bishel and the boys. It would be nice to get that monkey off the back, Dave.
Yeah.
They have not made the tournament in anything since moving into the Big 12. It would be nice to get that monkey off the back and see a team break the ice and be an NCAA tournament team since the move.
No doubt about it.
Jordan Bishel's awesome, by the way.
Not much more I can say other than no doubt about it.
I mean, I've watched some games on ESPN Plus. I don't have a lot of time to do that, especially, going through volleyball season with Kelsey, weekend games. I'm generally not around. But I've had a chance to watch. They're a fun team to watch. They play a fun brand of baseball. It's a little different than the bloop and a blast type game you see played around the college sport. They're exciting. So if you get a chance, if you're not going to stay home and watch all 11 hours of the marathon on Tuesday, maybe watch the first 8 hours and then, go check out the game against Indiana. Also, potentially for the first round of the Big 12 tournament, maybe do a little watch party at Mio's. I talked to Mio's about that today. Depending on when they play, might get a chance to do a little BCJ meetup at Mio's and watch the first round Big 12 playoff game. And then if they win, maybe we'll run it back. We'll see how it goes.
I would love one trip that I've never done that is very very high on my list is the College World Series.
It looks like a hell of a party.
Just because I want to see how many Jello shots I can put down at the place that keeps track of every team and how many Jello shots they do. Like, if UC made it and the Simone family all went, we might have a chance.
You guys put back Jello per capita, per annual consumption. You guys have to be near the top of the family leaderboard nationally in Jello shots.
I guarantee there's Jello shots in my mom and aunt's fridge right now.
just hanging out for in case anybody wants one.
Mm-hmm. Would not surprise. I mean, we have Christmas Jello shots, we have Thanksgiving Jello shots, we have, obviously all the football games. There's Jello shots. So,
like some families do like deviled eggs or like hanky pankies. Like if they have a family function, those that's going to be involved. The Simone family, there's going to be a couple hundred Jello shots laying around somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's do one more quick timestamp. Turtles Brew, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free. It's a bourbon-infused sweet tea, 6% ABV. They have cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange, vanilla, lemonade tea, strawberry mint. There's more than 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati, over 100 in and around the state of Ohio. For more information and the location nearest you, just go to turtlesbrew.com. Almost pool season, so nothing better than a adult Capri Sun having the Turtles Brew pouch ready to go. We're gonna do some Q&A here, Dave.
I'll answer anything. I'll even answer baseball. I won't say anything. I won't answer anything about soccer. But anything. Fire away. I did want to say real quick, Crypt Keeper. I hope that cap is spicy that you're having on that
cola. I saw it. Yeah, I love a good cap.
Where's
the best spot to get spicy capicola in town, Dave?
That's the thing. That is, to me, the one main thing that Cincinnati is truly missing is like
true Italian deli.
Like delis, like where you go in and get like a real deli sandwich.
Yeah. Here we go, Dave. This is from Merck. I'll go through the Twitter ones first. You guys get some in the chat, and we'll get to those as well. Who's the one guest we would like to have on? Who's been the favorite guest? And which guest had the most surprising interaction on the BCJ pod?
God.
As far as the network, the most surprising was without question Marty. 2.5 hours. I think we asked 6 questions. It was a wild night. Jason is still the white whale. He has said he will come on, but his schedule obviously is very difficult right now. We had him on once. It's the only time in the history we've done over 1,000 shows, Dave. Over 1,000 shows. It's the only time we lost a podcast before I could publish it.
Yeah.
As soon as we stopped the podcast, the file corrupted back in the old days before technology to do, these things had advanced. So Jason would be probably number one. I can't think of anybody else that really, Kenyon? Like Kenyon would be fun, I guess. We've had most everybody else.
Yeah, from with strict UC ties. I would say probably the most well-known guest that we've had on the BCJ pod probably is Pete Thamel.
Yeah. Pete is now big time. Like he was big time then. Yeah. He's now big time.
Yeah.
So thanks to Pete for coming on. That was
that
run where we had almost every national guy on during the playoff.
Because it was the playoff.
Yeah.
Be good at sports and we can get those guys on again. Shon,
I say, if I'm like, Pete, can you come on? He's gonna be like,
Chad, come on. What are we talking about? Shon, I do like DeBello's, but it is not the Italian deli that I'm speaking of.
No, like some 60, 70-year-old Italian guy.
You have the deli counter where you can get all your sliced meats and everything, but you also then have the cooler that has all the prepared salads and whatnot. And then over on the side, it's also an Italian store.
Yeah. And then they'll make you fresh sandwiches with fresh Italian bread.
Yeah. Mama de Salvo's up in Dayton is the closest thing that I know in the general area to that. It's a restaurant, Italian restaurant, and then they have a store next door that you can shop at and get all of that stuff at.
I might have to run up there one day. I'm dying for like a real Italian sub.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like, hey, here's pepperoni, salami, and ham.
Right.
Like, I like those. Don't get me wrong.
Yes. I mean, like the Italian sub at Jersey Mike's does the job for me because I have no other options. But so that's what I need. That's what we don't really have around here. But I mean, like, we've done this show how many damn times? What, 478?
Yeah, this is the 478th episode of this
I
stupid
can't
show.
remember. We should go back and try to find episode 1.
I don't know where it would exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
we're
it's
like
not on YouTube, is it?
No, we weren't doing YouTube shows then.
Yeah. So who knows
so,
where episode 1 would. Maybe you could go back. Can you even go back like all the way into the threads of the message board and find it that way? Or
maybe. I don't know if the place would still host it though.
I know.
Like whatever the company that hosted it at the time.
I don't even remember. Like, how did we even do it? What did we?
We did it on Skype.
Oh yeah.
With no video. It was just audio.
Yeah. That's
Skype got retired this week. There is no more Skype.
Mine
that's how long you've been doing this.
My work computer, I still got like the icon that says I'm online right now.
So,
Unreal.
But Aaron, back then, you recorded it on Skype, but Skype didn't have like a publishing tool. Like you had to bring in a third-party location to even Skype wouldn't record the call. So you had to have a third-party app that would record the call, and then you had to upload it to a podcast server.
Yeah.
Thanks, COVID.
COVID changed everything there.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Well, yeah. I don't even know. Like, I mean, there's like Jason. I would love to have Connor Barwin on.
We've had Barwin on.
I know, but again, just because of all the other stuff that he's done since but and it's not like it's kind of a cop out. Like, there's no one that I'm like, that I'm like, we got to get this person on because it would either be like incredible content or hilarious. I mean, I don't know.
I don't either. I mean, I think we have done a pretty good job over the years of if there's something relevant, a big name or whatever, like we've been able to get them on. There's not a huge wish list when I look at like, we've had Rick Menner on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe when they probably wouldn't do it at this stage of their like. I would like to get on I would love to get Mike Tomlin on or Jimbo Fisher and talk to them about like what was UC like when you guys were on staff at that time, and then just talk football with those guys. But I mean, not either of those two will never happen, more than likely. But that's the kind of maybe that I'd be interested in. All right, what's next? What else you got?
Jake, Kyle, and Gary. We've had Jake. We've had Kyle. We have not had Gary, surprisingly enough. But yeah. This one's for you, Dave.
Okay.
Will John Cena finish his career with the belt?
I know who asked that. Saw him at
Okay.
Country Inn a couple weekends ago. Great breakfast spot out here in my way. No, he will not. This bit that he's got of being a heel will end eventually. He'll bump his head, or some stupid storyline will be written where he will become a good guy. He will drop the belt. Certainly not on Saturday, but sometime soon. I cannot see him ending the December and just running this heel turn for another 7 months, and he just takes the belt with him.
He's going to say he's going to do that.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, he's ruining wrestling. That's what he's doing right now.
I mean, he got you with as mad as you were after WrestleMania.
So pissed.
Urban Meyer. Abso-fucking-lutely not.
No,
No.
because I would say things that we would not want to be said.
Right. What do you think the format of the CFP will be after this season? What would be realistic best case scenario for the Big 12? Best case scenario is anything that gets them 2 guaranteed bids, right?
What, it's probably going to be 16 team.
I mean, they'll at
And
least go to
then-
14, but I would guess they just go ahead and go to
I
16.
mean, what's the point in going to 14?
You reward team 1 and 2 with a bye. That's it.
Okay. I mean, just do 16.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, that's something I haven't really followed too much just because they don't seem to have any idea what they really want to do. So it's kind of like, why am I going to waste time like tracking something that there's really no consensus yet on how it's going to happen? And then it happens and you just say, okay, that's what's happening. Like, you know, we can think it's silly or whatever. I already think elements of it have been silly for several years. And they just continue to go down the road of not really caring about the sport as a whole. So
do you guys like shit on a shingle for breakfast in the north? That was kind of a dinner thing in my family. You know what shit on a shingle is?
Is that like hanky pankies, or those the same?
No, it's like it was an old military meal. It's like chip beef on white bread.
Yeah. No, I have not. For breakfast, sure, but with some not something that I have been around too much to really weigh in on.
So my grandpa was in the Korean War.
Okay.
So old military guy. My grandma would make it at times, but never I don't recall it ever being for breakfast. I recall it being like a dinner thing.
Yeah. With some
I've looked at I've looked at trying to make it and replicate it, but I've never actually done it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that difficult. It's just dried chip beef. But I enjoyed it growing up. It's one of the I remember it fondly, having it as a kid. My grandma did a good job making it. Doug Smith wants to know, moving to Key West at the end of the month, can you and or Dave drive down a few cases of Cincy Light Lime and Turtles Brew? We can stay at your place, yeah.
I mean, what's in it for me?
Right. If we can stay at your place and hang out for I'm not going to drive down, drop it off, and then get back in the car and drive back.
I don't really like driving very far, so I mean, there's going to need to be some serious incentives involved to make a 24+ hour drive.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Most of the other stuff we've already answered. Nick Van Exel would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. That's it. You guys don't have any more. I mean, we like to, in these off-season shows, give you at least an hour and a half. We are 4 minutes away. So you guys got a minute to get questions in here. And if not, then Dave and I are going to call it a night. So
yeah, I mean, I can't believe there's not more food questions for the two Husky guys in the network.
I'm losing weight, Dave. I'm trimming down.
There you go.
Not really trying, I'm not exercising or anything.
Just starving yourself.
No, I just cut back on the Cincy Lights. I'm down to 1 day a week now. So
there you go.
That's a lot of calories that I cut out of my diet.
Yeah, you gotta get into summer bathing suit weather.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I laugh. The new thing for the Xavier fans is you're a drunk, and I'm I fucking wish, man. I don't have time for that shit anymore. I'm a single dad now. The drinking heavily days are way out the window.
Yeah,
it's depressing. You get old, you got to grow up, you got to take care of the kid, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get her to school. Blah. We got 2 weeks from tomorrow, Dave, school's out.
Yeah, I think 22nd, is that right?
Yeah,
That's
something like that.
That's Will's last day too.
I think 23rd is Kelsey's. It's Thursday.
Can't wait to figure out what the heck, summer is going to be like.
For me, it's great. Kelsey usually sleeps until
Oh yeah, that's not how it works in our house. This is the first year that before he just kept going to school. He didn't know he never knew that school actually ended. So
this is the first year that school ends?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
boy.
This is the first year we have to find stuff for him to do from 9 to 5 while mom and dad are working.
From 6 to 5 with when he wakes up.
Yeah, exactly.
You get your backyard's fenced in, right? Just have that kid run some laps. No,
wouldn't matter if it was. He'd figure out a way to scale it or escape. So yeah, a lot of summer camps and a lot of time at the mom and aunts coming up.
Anything I'd like to see on the new football jersey? Somebody asked about that earlier. I don't think there's going to be a drastically different jersey. I think it's just going to be updated. I'm not thinking there's going to be a full new design. I think they're going to
what I want to see?
What?
I want to see cat eyes back.
Wasn't that an Adidas thing?
Yeah. I'm also joking.
I know. The cat scratched the claws on the pants.
No, the eyes above the name. Yeah.
I know. But Adidas also had the claws on the pants, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm also on the island of one who actually liked the Zuba basketball uniforms.
Are they going to be old school CPAW? No. That is an old mark. It's not that they don't use that anymore. They use the new CPAW. They paid a lot of money for that CPAW. I guess they've gotten their money out of it, but they're not going to go back to the old CPAW, which was just the new CPAW, but not italicized. They hit the italics button and we're like, ha! Fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think you'll see the old CPAW. But I do think my understanding is there will be new uniforms. They will not be an entirely new design, but they will be adjusted. So we'll see. I've not seen renderings or a picture. Everybody's heard something, right? Everybody knows somebody that's heard something about the new uniform design.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be drastically different than the past 2 years.
I mean,
but
how drastically different can it be?
You just start out you just do a redesign, a whole I don't think it's a redesign of the uniform is what I'm saying.
Right, but I don't think it should be. What?
No, I don't think so either.
I don't want some of these other uniforms that I've seen that all of a sudden have checkerboards on the shoulders for no reason.
Whoever could you be speaking of, Dave?
I don't know, some school that also has a weird alternate logo that doesn't look like a cat.
Oh boy. All right. Well, you guys don't want to ask questions. I guess we're going to get out of here.
Here we go.
The IPF. Darren, right at that was last second.
At the horn. Now he's gonna give other people the opportunity to think of something that they want to have.
Well, that was the end of regulation.
Yeah, I can't believe nobody's just asked us any ridiculous questions.
Yeah. The Cena question was the most ridiculous we got. After the IPF, what would be your wish list for the next project at UC? It would be a practice facility for basketball. For me.
Yeah.
Find some land. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
They had to tear down a multi-million-dollar facility that they had just built a decade ago for the IPF.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where you find some land to do a basketball facility, but I think that's kind of the next step in getting up to standard in the Big 12. You all right, Dave? You can die?
No, I had like a burp get caught.
Oh. You're having a heart attack for a
I
second.
don't know. I mean, I don't think mine would be like a specific thing like yours. I think it would be enhancing and updating a lot of existing things. Like work on the like baseball stadium, locker rooms for other sports. What are you going to do with the old weight room now? What can anything ever truly be done with the armory? Like stuff like that. Like obviously a big ticket item like a basketball facility would top the list. But I would look at like how do we just bring up to snuff a lot of the different things that we have going on.
Yeah. What's one thing you'd change to Nippert in Fifth Third? I don't know. I'd change anything to Fifth Third right now. I mean, I would. Well, I would put jerseys in the rafters.
Oh yeah, that I don't understand that, but
I don't either. Like you have a great storied history. You have one wall with like 6 things, and that's all you celebrate throughout the history.
It's not retiring numbers. It's recognizing players that meant a lot to your program at various stages.
Had a lot of great players play here. Yeah. Find a way to honor, like find a way to make that more prominent.
What would I change about? I don't know if this is a change about Nippert, but I would not have any more noon games.
that doesn't have anything to do with you. So like UC doesn't really have any sway in that. Is Burnett Woods not a realistic option to buy land? It hasn't happened, Big Al. So until it happens, I'm of the belief that it's not realistic.
Yeah.
Have I heard anything about jerseys in the rafters? No.
No, because we just said we would like to see that.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand why they don't do more. Why is nobody from what Kevin Huber is the only guy from 08-09 that's in the ring?
Yeah.
That's it. The 2 teams that completely changed the trajectory of what was never was in college football.
I mean,
it never was. And brought them into prominence. And there's one fucking name, and it's the punter.
If we're being honest, like Brian Kelly should be recognized.
Sure.
On some level of like, I mean,
what's in the building behind the student section? That is CCM, which is that building is not allowed to move.
Sacred ground.
Sacred ground. It is not going anywhere. So get you like that is a no-no. Yeah, we've asked John before. They've said it's important to them, but not that important.
Not that important.
Gaduli next. I mean, sure. Gino's in the ring.
Yeah.
Of honor.
Yeah, because he tells all the quarterbacks every time they come on a visit.
Yeah, when he was here, he would be like, "You see me? That's me up there." Yeah, Gino's in the Ring of Honor. But Gino didn't play on those teams. Gino graduated 3 years before that. 4 years before that.
Yeah.
Broyers should be next. Just with a sock. Just like Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, just with a sock on.
Yeah.
That's one I'm not happy with how they've handled that. There needs to be more done to honor the former players.
I just don't. I mean, I've never really heard a good or frankly any reason why we can't.
Yeah.
Like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. We've heard these rumors of like, well, they have to be consensus All-American. Why change the requirements?
Yeah, it's your Hall of
It's not
Fame.
like you have to be this age to be the president. It's like you can kind of just determine whatever it is you want it to be.
You are allowed. You are in control of those things.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like, I don't know, feels like a pretty obvious way to get some butts in the seats. If you're like, today's game, we're honoring these two players, and the next game, we're going to honor these two players. And during every Big 12 basketball season or Big 12 basketball game, we're going to honor one or two guys from our history that
you don't even have to do it every 2 games a year. Like this year, we're putting Steve Logan and Danny Fortson in the
I'm just saying, like, you could realistically do it because you know,
black field keeper. Fuck no.
That would be so hot.
Have you ever that's coming from somebody that doesn't have to stand down there all the time? Absolutely not.
Yeah. No, I do think it would have been awesome if they replicated that one April Fool's joke field as the field in the practice facility. Like if I was in the athletic office, I would have been pushing for that.
So I know
that would have been fun.
Dave, they priced that out on what it would cost to have the field spray painted black. It was a lot.
I'm sure that's a lot of spray paint.
I think it was pushing $100,000.
I'm sure it was. An insane amount of paint. But yeah, like that one April Fool's joke where they had all the red and the skyline and Kings Island rides, and I would do that in the practice field. I think that would have been fun.
All right. That's gonna wrap it up. You guys are ridiculous sometimes. First Big 12 home game for basketball, retire a jersey. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, no, you wouldn't that's a game that's going to sell out. That's your first Big 12 home game. You would do it mid-January or late January, early February. And okay, February 3rd.
Wednesday home game.
Yeah.
We're going to honor,
Steve Logan's going in the rafters.
Steve Logan and Nick Van Exel. Or,
Corey Blunt's going in the rafters. Whatever the case. Herb Jones is going in the rafters.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, me either.
Sell tickets for a meet and greet.
Yeah.
You put a 3-minute, do it at halftime. You put a 3-minute highlight package together. You let them talk for a minute. Everybody stands up. Everybody has a good time. The number goes up. Yeah, it feels like a way, way, way missed opportunity for football and basketball.
Yep. All right, we're gonna call it a night. That's the BCJ podcast. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Brought to you by the Holy Grail right here on BearcatJournal.com.